Hello everyone, welcome to Vab Fashion's YouTube channel. My name is Eunice. In this video, I'm going to be sharing with us how to make this beautiful gown you see right here on the mannequin. In my previous video, I showed us how to draft and cut this gown. So this video is the sewing video. We're going to be stitching our pieces together to achieve this lovely outfit you see right here on the mannequin. So if you haven't seen the video on how to draft and cut this gown, I'll be dropping the link in the description box and also in the comment section. So please do well to click on the link so that you can watch and understand how we drafted and cut this gown. So if this is your first time on my channel, thank you so much for stopping by. Please kindly click on the subscribe button to subscribe and ensure you put on your notification bell so you get a notification every time I upload a new video. And if you're a returning subscriber, thank you so much for coming back. Thank you, and let's get right into the video. Okay, so here are front pieces. I've ironed paper stayed to the lining on all the three pieces. For the main fabric, I ironed haystay to the back of the main fabric, and then I ironed to the breast part, which is also known as wadding. So these are the two side pieces, and this is our center piece. For the back, I went ahead to cut my lining, and this is it. So for the back, the upper part that is going to have this check material, let me show us how we're going to place it. So this is the right side of my fabric. I'll bring in the check fabric like this and place it. Take note that the check fabric, I already turned the neckline and I turned the zip allowance also. So I'll place it now. You want to make sure that the center is facing the center part and the armhole is facing the armhole area, okay? So I'll place it half inch away from the center back. This is because we're going to use lining to turn this side of our center back, because here I've already turned this one with its own half inch. This is like a yoke. I hope we get it. So you can see I placed it half inch away from the center back, and then I'm going to place the lining now. Can you see it's in between the lining and the fabric? So I'll place the lining this way, and then I'll take this to my machine and stitch like this on half inch, and then this half inch I left here, I'll use it to turn the center back. So I'm just going to use my pins to keep it in place. Stitch this way and then stitch this way. So we'll now have our yoke like this. Can you see? So I'm going to repeat the same thing on the second piece, and then I'll also stitch my dart after I finish turning them. So I'll be stitching the dart on the lining and the fabric together. So exactly what I've done here is what I'll repeat on this one. And then this is the front piece here. So these are front piece. I'm going to place them like this, center piece, and then I'll place the side piece over it, and then I'll start stitching from the down part on half inch. After stitching, I'll have it this way. I'll repeat the same thing on this one, stitch also on half inch, starting from the down to up. I'll do that for the lining also. So this is our front yoke, and this is it. I have this placket that I'm going to sew on this part. I want to make it look like a shirt at the upper part so that it has this placket and then forms it well. Okay, so I'll place the placket. Now you just choose which side is going to be the wrong side. So I'm using these two sides as the right side. Then I'll place the placket here. Can you see I'm leaving a space at the upper part? I'm going to stitch on half inch. After stitching it like this, I'll now flip it like this. Can you see? So I have the placket sitting over it like this, in a horizontal shape. But before doing that, I'm going to place the placket right side facing right side, and I'll stitch it this way before I turn it and top stitch it. So I'll do all this and come back and show us. So I'm done joining the placket. You can see I already trimmed this one. So I'll also trim this one too like this. So that just aligns. Now this is what we want to achieve. I want to place it. I'm going to place it like this. Can you see? You place it to overlap on this. So this is what I will have here. So this is our bustier. You can see I've ironed it already. So I'll fold it into two and get the center front. So this is now my center front here. And see I've notched it. So I'm going to place the shirt material. I'll place it like this. Right side of the shirt material facing right side. So the part I top stitch is the right side. So I'm going to place it like this. over it like this. So I'm just going to pin it down. You want to make sure that it aligns with the armhole here. So that's the essence of getting the midpoint. I'll bring the other one and also place it right side facing right side of this way, like this. I'll pin also. So can you see how they are overlapping? The placket is overlapping on the other side. So when I'm done, I'm going to have something like this. Can you see? This is what we are going to have. So this is what I'm going to do. I'll take this to my sewing machine, stitch it this way, and then I will place the lining right side of the lining. This is obviously the wrong side now of the lining. So right side of the lining facing right side of the fabric, and I'll also stitch the neckline here, and I'll also turn the sides here. And then for the flare of the skirt, this is our flare here. So this is our front piece. So this is the facing for the pocket to achieve this patch pocket here. That's we're going to have this material here. So you can see I've also sewn this part. I've stitched it already and turned it. That's the down part of the pocket. This is the part that will be at the pocket opening, and this is the down part. So I'm going to place it like this on the pocket. Can you see? And then I'll top stitch it this way. I'll repeat the same thing on this side and top stitch it this way. So after doing that, I'll bring in the pocket. This is the fabric that we're using for the pocket now. So I'll place the pocket like this and then stitch it. Stitch this side that I'm going to turn, and also do that with my lining because I cut a lining. So now the pocket is going to be in between the lining and the fabric. So after stitching this way, I'm going to bring in my lining and also do the same thing, stitch it and turn it. So if your own is not going to have lining, then you don't have to bring in the lining. But for me, I'm going to have a lining that will turn here. So I'll go do that for the two sides and then come back and show us the next thing to do. So this is what our front piece looks like. Can you see? And see I've stitched the yoke, which is the check material, into it, and you can see how this one is overlapping. So you can decide to fix a button here or you leave it like this because this is quite high. I'm still going to decide whether I'm going to have a press button here to hold it down or I'll leave it open. I haven't decided that yet. So I'm done stitching the upper body. So now this is the down part. Let me show us. So this is the lining here. So remember I have the pocket in between the lining. I placed the facing, that's the check material. I top stitched it on top of the flare, and then I placed the pocket first and then my lining second. So this is what we're going to do. This is a curved area. So you need to notch it so that when I turn it to iron, everything will be well relaxed. I'll do the same thing on this side. Just notch, notch. So having notched it, I'm going to now turn it. So you can see the lining now is going to the wrong side. So this is our pocket now. And you see that's the essence of placing the pocket in between the lining and the fabric. So here now, I'm going to bring in my pressing iron and press this part like this. So you can see the shape I have here. The pocket is following the shape of the skirt. That is why you want to make sure that the pocket follows the shape of the flare rather, okay? So I'm going to just iron it. I'm now going to fold the pocket into two. Can you see how the curve is now? So I'll fold the pocket into two like this. And you see, you want to make sure that the shape comes back here. So I'll fold it into two and then also press it. Now let me turn it to the right side so that we'll see what the pocket looks like. And you see that by folding it into two now, it has replaced back the shape that we cut out. I hope we can see this clearly. It has replaced back the shape that we cut out. So now this is what I'm going to do. And let's turn it back to the wrong side or to the reverse side. This is how we have it here. Two things can be done. It is either you stitch it this way, just stitch it and stitch like this. So that means you have to weave the rough part. For me, I'm going to be doing French finishing. So this is what I'm going to do. I'll place it this way, wrong side facing wrong side like this, and then I'll stitch. So having stitched this side is the part that I'll be shaping together with the back, okay? So I'm just going to stitch this part and then leave this part. This is so that by the time we turn it, we'll have the stitch inside and then I'm going to top stitch it, okay? So I'll repeat the same thing for the other side of the pocket, and I'll use my lining to turn the back side and come back and show us what we have. So after stitching the pockets to the flare, this is what our gown looks like right now. You see? So this is it here on both sides. And this is what it looks like on the reverse side. You can see how neat the hem of the pocket is. I stitched close the sides of the pocket I also stitch close the waistline. I repeated the same thing on the other side. And then I went ahead to join the upper bodice to the down part. And this is what it looks like. So here I used French finishing so you can see how neat it is. And this is the back also. I've stitched the upper bodice to the flare. I also use French finishing to turn the waistline and see. And then I went ahead to stitch the zipper at the center back. So before stitching the zipper to the center back, I came down by 22 inches from the neckline, and then I stitched close the down part, but I didn't stitch it all the way down to the hem. So I went ahead to sew my zipper to the center back, and this is what we have. So here now I'm going to show us how to cut the facing that we're going to be using to turn the armhole. So please take note that I opened the gown up so you can see the armholes. I opened it up, so they are basically facing, kind of facing each other. Okay, so this is it. So you can see how I opened it up. So you want to make sure you spread it out very well. So I'm just going to trace out the shape here I have on the armhole. So this is just like a facing for the armhole, so we can just use it to turn it. So you can use your bias if that's what you want. It will also be okay, but this is going to give you a more finer effect, so I'll prefer to use this. So I haven't traced out the armhole. I'm going ahead to notch the center, that's the shoulder. Okay, so I knot the shoulder so that I know where the shoulder is. And then here at the back, at this side, which is the back, I'm also going to notch one side just so that you don't interchange it, because by the time we take out our gown now, the whole facing will look alike, so you won't know which side is the front and which side is the back. So that's why I went ahead to notch the center, sorry, I beg your pardon. I went ahead to notch the center, and then I notch the side of the back so that we know which is which. Okay, so this is me just going ahead to cut out the facing. So here the facing is not more than 2 inches. 2 inches is even too much because I'm going to weave it out. So this is what the facing for the armhole looks like. So I'm going to place this on my Ankara fabric and cut another piece. So one will serve for the left and one will serve for the right. And this is it. So here I have my two facings. So I'm just going to place the facing right side, facing right side of the armhole. And you see, this is it. Right side, facing right side of the armhole. Now stitch on half inch. I'll go ahead and stitch on half inch. I'll repeat the same thing on the other side. Right side facing right side of the armhole, and then I'll go ahead also and stitch on half inch. Then I'll weave the other outer part, and then I'll show us how we top stitching the facing. So here I cut this piece of fabric that I'll be using to create the cold shoulder effect. That's a strap that's going to give us like a cold shoulder sleeve. And here the length of my fabric is 50 inches. I just cut it out from the leftover fabric, and this is 50 inches, which is fine, so that is long enough. So I'm placing it on fold. Here the fabric is about 2.5 inches on fold. So when you open up, that's 5 inches. So 2.5 inches on fold. I'm going to take it to my sewing machine and stitch on all four corners, leaving a space that I'll be using to turn it out. So I'll just leave a space that I'll use to turn it out. I'll repeat the same thing for the second one, which is going to be the strap also for the back. So here, as you can see, I finished stitching the facing of the armhole. I went ahead to notch the armhole. This is so that it can allow me turn it to the wrong side and everything will sit well relaxed. So this is it. So this is me just going ahead to iron the facing of the armhole. I'll press both sides of the facing. After pressing it, I'm just going to take this to my sewing machine, and then I will top stitch it. So you can either decide to use your hemming gum, but if you're using just hemming gum without stitching, then you have to use the permanent hemming gum. So if it is that hemming gum, that's a temporary hemming gum that can easily go off when you wash. I'll advise that after using the hemming gun, please stitch it. So I'll go and top stitch this on my machine, start stitching on 1/2 inch round the armhole. So the next thing I'm going to do is to place the strip that we're going to be tying at the upper arm, right hand side. So I'll be placing the strip. I want to make sure that it aligns with where the Ankara fabric starts. So that means, can you see how it's going to be? It's going to be underneath the check fabric. So I'm just going to fold in 1/2 inch. Remember, I already tucked in 1/2 inch. So I'll fold in 1/2 inch like this and then pin. I'll open up my zipper first and pin it like this. Can you see? I'll pin it. You make sure that it's aligning with the Ankara fabric. You see? So this is what I have here. So I'm going to stitch it this way, like this. Okay? So for the other side, I will repeat the same thing. So I'm going to also place it like this, making sure it aligns with the Ankara, folding this 1/2 inch. So I'll also pin it here. So you see, so this is what we're going to have. We'll have the strip, one on the left and one on the right. So for the front piece, I didn't slash it into two, I didn't divide it, because for the front we don't have a zipper at the front. For the back, you can see we have to separate it so that the zipper can open. So for the front, all I did was to stitch it, and then I turned the fabric inside out using an opening here. So the next thing we're going to do for the front, I'm going to get the midpoint of the strip and fold it into two like this. So once I have the center, I'm going to iron it down so that the crease line is showing. I will also get the midpoint of the bustier by holding the armholes like this. Just place them together like this, and then I have the midpoint here. It is obvious that where my placket is overlapping, this point is the midpoint. Can you see? It is very obvious. So I'm just going to open it up back now that I know the midpoint. So I'll bring in the strip and place it like this. You see? I'm placing it exactly the midpoint. This is so that what you have on the left will be the same thing you have on the right. So I'm going to pin it down here. You see? I'm going to pin it down here, and this is what we are going to have. So for the front strip, I'm going to be stitching it like this. I will stitch it over the bustier like this. And then for the back, I'm going to stitch this way. I will do the same thing this way, like this. And then already I talked about the armhole. I said I was going to top stitch it from the right side so that you are seeing it and making sure that your stitch is very clean and curved, curve it well. Okay, so this is it. So once I'm done with that, I'm going to shape this outfit using my sewing allowance and then hem the down part and show us the final outcome. Okay, so this is the final outcome of our flare gown. This is the rope that we're going to tie here to give us that cold shoulder effect. And I also went ahead to shape the gown like I earlier said, and I've woven the down part. You can see I've hemmed it. Everything came out really beautiful. The reverse side of the outfit is looking so beautiful. And here on the neckline, I fixed a press button. Just one press button is fine. And this is it. The gown is really beautiful. Everything came out so nice. So I'm going to wear this on the mannequin to show us what it looks like. Here's our gown, and this is what it looks like on the mannequin. You can see how beautiful it looks. So for the rope here that's going to form the cold shoulder sleeve, all you need to do is to just tie it like this and then let it drop, just like that. So the second one, I'm going to do the same thing, just also tie and let it just drop like this. You see, it's very beautiful, very, very beautiful. Everything came out so beautiful. I hope you learned something from this video. If you did, please make sure to like this video, share this video with your friends, and most importantly, do not forget to subscribe to my channel and also put on your notification bell so you get a notification every time I upload a new video. Thank you for watching. See you in my next video. Bye.